Hi, everyone. Uh, Welcome back to Great People Interview Series. I have with me Shatel, who is the CEO and founder of Click and Clear. It's a music rights company. It's a tech company, which does licensing as well. And I guess, I'll hand it over to her to explain a bit more about your business.
Yeah, so thank you very much for having me today. To give you a bit more of a background, Click and Clear is a music rights tech and licensing company servicing performance sports, so sports like dance, gymnastics, figure skating, and so on, plus also fitness worldwide. So basically these activities that heavily use music to support their exercise and routines.
Wow. So typically, who are your customers?
So we have different kind of targets. Essentially, we have the teams or the athletes who compete at cheerleading competitions, dance competitions, and so on, who need licenses to use the music as part of their routines. And then we also work with fitness instructors, and we work with sports federations. So sport federations are kind of these governance organizations who create the rules of the sport and run the sort of large competitions.
Wow, fantastic. So how do you come up with this idea of Click and Clear as a music company? And first of all, why this name Click and Clear? Because it doesn't sound, something about music, but I guess you have some deep thought in it.
Yeah, so the kind of name behind Click and Clear was we wanted something that basically did what it said on the tin. So for us, we're clearing music rights, and so it's music rights clearance. And so you click and you clear the song without having to negotiate back and forth with record labels and music publishers. And so that's kind of the story behind the name. In terms of why I started the company, well, kind of sad how it started in a way, because actually it was because a major label sued the cheerleading industry for infringing on copyright. And at the time, I'd been working in music licensing, but I'm also a world champion cheerleader. And I have a music production company that makes music mixes for cheerleading, dance, and gymnastics. And so when that lawsuit happened, I was perfectly placed to create a solution to the problem. And that's exactly what we did.
Wow. What a story. So I guess, there was a problem, and you spotted that as an opportunity, and grew from there. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So in general, tell us about your backstory and your journey so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard being an entrepreneur, and especially starting something that no one has ever done before. Music rights are very, very complicated. Thankfully, like I had a long history of music. I've been doing music since I was about 4 years old, from playing piano, violin, and everything else. I studied music to the sort of high level at school, and then also university. And I did a degree in basically the music business. And it was actually there where I started my music production company, to start making music mixes for cheerleading. And then that led me into working in music licensing, and that led me to starting Click and Clear. And as I said, music rights are very complicated, so I had to have a really strong understanding of the legal side of things. But I actually originally wanted to be a music lawyer, so it's kind of nice that I've found a place where I can kind of do that sort of work, but not necessarily full time. I get to do the creative stuff and everything else in the business too.
Wow. So you studied music. Where did you do your graduation in music, and what was that graduation?
I studied at University of Westminster.
Wow.
And I did BA in commercial music, which covered everything from performing to business and also music production.
Right. And so from there, after studying, you grabbed a job? Or...
Yes, I worked part-time for a company called Q Songs, which was a sync licensing company. So they were putting music largely into online and digital content. I used to work with famous YouTubers. I used to work kind of clearing music for some Spotify shows that they were doing at the time, Global Cycling Network, Whistle Sports, and a range of other kind of projects. But sadly, another reason why I started the company was that company actually went into administration. The assets later got bought. But I basically walked into work one day and was told you don't have a job to come back to. And it happened exactly the same time that cheerleading got sued. So I kind of feel like it was my calling.
Oh, what a story. So now I think in music industry, what you're doing, you kind of have customers who probably come back to you again and again.
Yeah.
Because now they know, and they need more and more music, and they know, this is the company who will help me click and clear, whatever I need. But then how do you ensure that, you retain those customers?
Yeah. So these sports are kind of in a unique position because they're run by these like governance structures. The federations who run the big championships, for example, essentially write into their rules, if you're competing at our event, you have to license music, because otherwise there's a legal risk. Figure skating recently are being sued for copyright infringement at the Olympics, and that's athletes, the national federation, the international federation, and the broadcasters, both TV and online. So everybody is at risk when the athletes are using music illegally. So we have built systems in place to educate end users about what they need to do. We obviously help the federation in terms of providing that information and disseminating that information out. They write their music rules that covers what you need to do. And we've also now got technology for the federation to help monitor licensing. So they can, we're actually launching this right now with indoor skydiving next week, where they're running their world championships and all of the athletes competing are submitting their music ahead of the competition to be verified so that the federation knows which teams have licensed music and are therefore legally protected.
Oh, brilliant.
And so in a way, that's kind of how we retain customers, because it is the law. It's kind of like insurance in some way. It's a bit boring, but it's a necessity. They have to do it. And we've got the tools to support them in managing that so that they don't have that legal risk. And that's then how the customers kind of continue.
I guess this is probably a very niche but professionally used music kind of market, or the segment or the audience. But now if you look at overall in the digital world, people are moving away from still photographs and graphics to more of video content, and we see a lot of people putting on social media, YouTube videos, and all that. Not necessarily everybody understands what is it that they can use freely and what is it that they need to pay. And maybe there is something in between, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, something in between which is free to use, but you have to give that producer the credits. So it's free, but you still have to make the mentions. But ordinary people don't understand this. So can you just throw a bit of a light on, these social media experts who are using music? And I think we know we have platforms where we can download copyrighted, licensed graphic.
Yeah.
so many platforms, but the music that we know, maybe from movies, maybe from any of the shows, is it something that we can use, or what is it like?
Generally not. So music generally isn't free. I think unfortunately social media has muddied the waters, because what they've done is they've got deals. Those big platforms have had to put deals in place with the music industry, with the record labels and music publishers, where because people were just uploading all of the content, the rights holders weren't getting any of it, and it's impossible for them to go after everyone, which is why they built that content ID tool. So when you use music on YouTube, you can't monetize your content, so you can't make money from your video. So as long as you're using music on social media and it's not for commercial purposes, it's literally just you recording yourself, having a fun time in the park, for example, then they kind of allow that. But for anything that's related to a business purpose, and you're wanting to monetize that content, or it has a benefit on the organization in some fashion, then music actually needs to be licensed. And it's why you'll find YouTubers, professional YouTubers, generally don't use popular songs, because they can't actually monetize their content. Right. Now, there's a company now that does licensing for YouTube, and that's great. They exist now, and some people are starting to use that. But I think it's really kind of muddied the water, because it's made people think that music is free and I can just use it if I just put someone's, their name on it. But in reality, that's not actually the case. And when you're using music on any other platform or for your own video content, and you're putting it in a more professional manner as well, then a license is always required.
Right. So if somebody's got a music, how do they get verified? I mean, whether it should be licensed, or how much it will cost. So can they just give you the music file and just say, tell us, and can you verify just with that piece of music given to you?
With Click and Clear, we encourage people to license music via the platform first, because we have over 500,000 songs that people can instantly license for their, dance routine, for example. And so they know that all of that music on there can definitely be licensed. What we found is when people choose music that's not on our platform, it might not be there. So when it comes to them submitting it at competition to be verified, they'll find out, oh, actually, this isn't licensed. It's not possible for me to get a license for this unless I go directly to the record labels and publishers, which can take months and cost a lot of money to clear. And so they have to find different music often.
Right. Okay. That's interesting to know. So throughout this journey, what was your biggest challenge and how did you deal with it?
I think the biggest challenge for many entrepreneurs is always securing funding, especially because I have a createch company, so it's in the creative industries, and not many investors invest in the creative industries, especially in music. So, and I think Click and Clear is quite complex in terms of what we do to understand, and it's a niche market, though it's a large market. And so there's a lot of explaining that we have to do to help them understand what we're doing and how exciting this space is. And we've largely overcome that by working with angel investors who have an understanding of music or sports, or even technology. And we've now started working with a venture capital firm who are much more founder focused and kind of sector agnostic. So it doesn't matter if you're a creative industries company or something else. They just care more about the vision and the founder.
Wow, fantastic. So you secured funding already?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we've gone through a few rounds of funding already.
Excellent. Right. So you have a team around you. How do you keep that motivated?
So I think leading with kindness, compassion, and empathy are really important. I do everything that I can to support my team through challenges that they might have. And we always encourage kind of open and honest conversations, and kind of also playing to each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I think largely because of the culture that we've created, the team, they really enjoy what they do, and they often, much against what I advise, but they often will work on the weekends or work in their spare time just because they're interested in what they're doing. So I strongly am encouraging holidays and taking breaks and having their weekends off as well, which I never thought I would have to do. But yeah, I think it's really just about the culture that you create and the leadership style.
So is your business more of UK focused, or you're serving customers across the world?
We work around the world. Yeah, sports are international. And so we have to work with, national federations in every country, essentially. I think at the moment there's between 50 to 100 kind of countries that kind of come to our platform. So people from about 100 countries come to our platform to search for music. And then we've got direct deals with some national federations in various countries as well. So, I mean, it ranges from Korea to Canada, the US, UK, Germany, Singapore. It's really quite a wide range.
Excellent. So looking at, your platform, which is a website where people come and they will already see that, this is all the music that is available. I can buy, and it's the licensing is taken care of by you. Very similar to the graphic platforms where you can download without worrying, whether am I copying this online. Now, but for the marketing of this platform, how do you reach out to these hundreds of countries?
So sports are unique in the sense that they have like an international federation at the top of each sport. So cheerleading or gymnastics, we kind of work with the international federation, and then we work with the national federations underneath them. We're either introduced to them or we're contacting them directly. And for the most part, an international federation will list all of the members, so all of the countries in which their sport exists in, right. Or the people who are attending their world championships. So that information is actually quite easy for us to obtain. And we've built the kind of relationships with these people. And so we're not having to do a massive marketing effort of onboarding hundreds of thousands of teams in cheerleading, for example. We work with the federations in each country, and they kind of help disseminate the information so that everybody is educated in their sport and is doing the right thing to eliminate their legal risk.
Okay. And how do you then do this market awareness? Because I guess, that's another piece which is important. People got to realize that, they need to buy a license.
Yeah, it's largely all around education. So we have a lot of educational materials. We collaborate and partner with the federations on that content. And so, I mean, we've got a wealth of materials on our website, but we also have like specific documents that we will create for each sport to, again, highlight everything that they need to do. We've got sort of how-to guides, and it explains why they need to license music, how to license music, and so on. So that's really how we kind of raise awareness, is largely through education. We sometimes run webinars as well with the federations, again, to kind of answer questions, get the information out there in a different format.
Wow. That's a lot of work, actually, but
it is.
At the end it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
And so that's very interesting to know the journey and the challenges that you had. You are in a very different kind of an industry, and you're making your way out. Brilliant. Now, hi there. I just wanted to share with you all why London School of Digital Business is doing this Great People interview series. Well, for the last few years, small and medium businesses have been facing lots of challenges. Individuals have been wondering what's going to happen to their careers because of these emerging trends and technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, AR. What's going to happen? It feels as if the world is changing. And then COVID hit, and there is a lot of depression in the minds of people. So we thought we need to bring in some positivity, bring in some motivation and inspiration. And it's all good to know these stories of, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But we wanted to talk about the extraordinary stories of the people that you get to see in the ordinary world. They are no way ordinary people. They are great people, but they are the ones you can relate to. Hence, we thought this is something that we want to bring in to increase the chances of success for many, motivate them, give them the insights. And I'm so happy to share that every leader has shared completely unique and different insights because their situations have been different. Somebody was alone, and we know that entrepreneurs are alone at the top and how it feels, and they fought their challenges. Somebody had partnership, business partners, and somebody could not survive the business partnership, so they had to rebuild themselves. Somebody thought, well, I could have done this differently if I was to go back in time. So every insight is so unique. I must thank all the people who shared their journeys, and I'm sure this will help you all succeed in life, increase the chances of your success, as well as reach there faster, and of course, achieve happiness in life. Thank you for listening. Brilliant. Now, going to the next piece of our interview, which is trying to know you as a person.
Yeah.
So lighter questions for small answers. What would you do over a weekend?
Over the weekend, well, I actually usually work. If I'm not working and catching up on everything throughout the week, I'll be seeing family. In my spare time, I enjoy horse riding, cheerleading, kayaking. I love being outdoors. I now live in the countryside, and so I actually get to see the sunrise and sunset, which is beautiful. So that's kind of how I spend my spare time.
Right. And what would be your favorite holiday destination?
I have so many. It's kind of hard to say. My whole family is Canadian, so I love going back to Canada to see my family. I also love going to Ibiza, not for the partying. It is actually just a really lovely island and great weather. But I mean, I love traveling the world. I've done a lot of travel, and so I don't think I have a favorite destination.
How about your family in the UK and pets? Any?
I don't have any pets, sadly. I did used to have a dog, but I love animals, and hopefully one day we'll get some horses, but we'll see.
I'm sure you will. And well, I guess just out of curiosity, if you were to go back in time, what you would have done differently?
I'm not really too sure if there's anything I've done differently. I mean, I've definitely made mistakes, but I think it's helped me learn, and it's helped us and the company become who we are today. If there was really one thing I'd change, is not having a pandemic. That would have been nice.
Yes, we would all say that. But I guess, pandemic has also created lots of opportunities for, lots of different sectors, and
Yes.
many people realize that don't take things for granted, and change is something part of our life, and those who forgot that phenomenon of adopting
Absolutely.
change. I think it's nature's way to tell us that, get ready, you got to adopt the change.
Yeah.
And many people have found that, well, we have actually now, what we have been doing before was only a traditional or physical style of business. Now we have both. We have an online option and we have an offline option. So
Yeah. We've got to constantly adapt.
absolutely. So what's your ultimate goal and vision?
I like to solve complex problems, and really my ultimate goal is to positively impact the world and help make it a better place for those coming up behind us.
And what would be your advice to the entrepreneurs, the business people, and also the students who are listening to this interview?
I think building your support network, because you're going to need help throughout. You kind of have the dark days and you have the great days, and you do want to celebrate those wins, but it's always great to have people there to kind of pick you up when you're down as well. So I think building a support network of some great people is really beneficial when you're starting a company.
Yeah, I guess one piece of advice you can still give, and people would be curious to know, is because you secured funding and you said few rounds of funding. Tell us some tips. What is it, that, because there are hundreds of companies who are looking for funding, and
Yeah.
but there is only a handful who get it.
I don't think there's like a methodology for funding. I think a lot of some of it's been pure luck. Like my first investor came on board because I met his partner at a music industry networking event. And she heard what I was doing and said that she knew someone who may be interested in investing. And then that happened a year later. And another person came on board again. I met them. I was introduced to them. I met them a year before, and they randomly reached out saying, "Hey, I'm looking to invest in some companies and wanted to have a conversation with you about it." So it's quite a challenge. I mean, I'm making it sound easy. It was not easy by any means, but I think it's a case of getting out there, meeting people, building your network, and just continuously reaching out to various funding organizations, be it VCs, angel groups. You get a lot of rejection. I've definitely been rejected many more times than I have been accepted. And, it's one of those things you kind of have to build a bit of a thick skin and just trust what you're doing and know that what you're doing is right, and just continue to bash through the door.
That's amazing. That's true entrepreneur. I must say you're going to be a shark very soon.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm really impressed. You're a super entrepreneur. You stick to what you believe. You have been through difficult times, but then you converted all your problems into opportunities. So really inspirational interview. Thank you, Chantal. I'm
Thanks for
sure
having me.
others would love this interview. Thank you for your time.
No worries.